Hey everybody, I've got a bit of an oddball release to talk to you about today, and that is this limited standalone edition of In the Tall Grass, this skinny little paperback, which was released in 2021 for Independent Bookstore Day. So, Independent Bookstore Day, if you're not familiar, is kind of like Record Store Day in that there are standalone limited releases produced and distributed only to these independent retailers to support them. 2021, as we all remember and are probably, if you're like me, trying desperately to forget, was the height of the pandemic, which was hitting everybody hard, particularly brick and mortar independent bookstores. So enter Stephen King and Joe Hill signing off on this interesting little release to generate enthusiasm and excitement and to get people into independent bookstores. So I remember hearing about this, and I believe there was a website for Independent Bookstore Day, and you could go to that website and you could see the list of titles that were going to be released. It wasn't just this one, it was several things, and also a list of participating bookstores that would be carrying them. And another thing, an interesting bit about In the Tall Grass was, I think, 4,000 copies total. So even though it's not expensive and it's not particularly fancy, it is technically a limited edition. 4,000 copies, of which 200 were signed by Stephen King and Joe Hill. Signed on a book plate, which is basically a sticker. They signed their names, and it was stuck, I think, inside the front cover here. But the catch is, the deal is with that all of the editions, the unsigned and signed, were going to be released for the same price. So talk about a golden opportunity, sort of a diamond in the rough. And from what I could tell, I looked at the booksellers that were in my area. I wasn't going to be able to travel out of state to try to get one of these signed copies. There were a couple of bookstores in my immediate area, I'd say within half an hour of where I live, that showed they were going to carry this item. I called ahead and they both verified that they were only going to be carrying the unsigned. So not an amazing opportunity like I was hoping, but still pretty cool nonetheless. Definitely got my enthusiasm up, got my optimism up. It was something fun to look forward to. And I was there on Independent Bookstore Day, waiting outside this bookstore before they opened. I was the only one waiting outside before they opened. So apparently, if word had gotten around about this book, nobody else was as excited about it in my little neck of the woods as I was, which was fine. So I walk in and they have a display for Independent Bookstore Day, and I saw this front and center, and they had, I think, three copies. And I asked the proprietor of the bookstore if I might buy two of them. And she laughed as if to say, why would anybody want two copies of the same book? But she told me that would be absolutely fine. So I purchased two copies at a list price of $12.99. So $12.99 for this book, a limited edition. However modest, it was still a good deal and still a really interesting find. If it had been the signed edition, of course, it would have been amazing. The signed In the Tall Grass is now bringing over $800. This edition is normally, I think, goes around 100, 125, somewhere in there. So I knew it would be a good investment. Anything limited Stephen King is always a good investment. So I grabbed two. I had a friend in the Stephen King collecting community who lamented that she was not able to get a copy. So I just sent her my extra copy because in that particular moment, I just felt like I wanted to pay it forward for a friend. So I sent that on, and that leaves me with just this single little modest copy. But on the cover, it says first time in book form. And on the copyright page, copyright 2021 by Independent Bookstore Day Publishing, first and only edition. I like that. And only, which means this is it, folks. This is your single opportunity to get this. It is pretty basic. There are some section breaks that are printed. I guess technically that would be considered artwork, but it is definitely nothing nothing fancy. There's actually a building, perhaps a church in that image, so yeah, I guess technically you could call that artwork. And then a couple of end pages, and that's it. That's all they wrote, so to speak. So it's an interesting little thing. What I remember most fondly was just the excitement and enthusiasm that I felt to get out of the house and go do something at a store in person for the first time in some time. It was a cold-ish day, and it was dreary and overcast, but I was very excited, and I expected there might be a line around the block because when you're a diehard Stephen King collector, you always assume other people are diehard Stephen King collectors as well. And at least for this, it was not the case, which was just fine. But anyway, this is just a little diversion. It's a release. It's a thing. I haven't talked to Noah about this one. I could totally see him picking up a copy. I don't think he would have bought one of these signed limited editions on the aftermarket because I can already hear him saying that $800 for this little paperback book is just ridiculous. So he wouldn't pay it. To each their own. Um, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pay it either. But anyway, just a little thing to talk about in the tall grass. If you are interested in purchasing a copy, I would direct you to skcollector.com. In all my videos this month, I've been highlighting an aspect of that website, considering that Thomas from SK Collector is now a sponsor of this channel. But on the website, there are links, pages that link to lists where you can buy US special limited editions and buy UK limited editions. And there's a page up on that website that links you to sites where you can buy in the tall grass. And Thomas scours the internet every month and keeps those links updated, so they should be able to take you where you need to go. But anyway, thanks to you, thanks to Thomas, thanks to everybody who has anything positive to do with this channel. Thanks for your comments, for your questions, for your emails, for your feedback. I really enjoy it and I really appreciate it. A lot of people along the way have helped me and taken the time to help me along my journey, and I really get a kick out of hearing from you and answering your questions, and hopefully being able to pay some of the knowledge that I have gained from other people forward as you go on your own Stephen King collecting journey. But anyway, until next time, take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you later.